Good evening, everybody. It's Shelley Johns here from Gympie. I'm here with Ross.
Good evening.
And tonight is part 4 of our Back to Basics training. So this is fantastic for new members and for existing members that really just want to get back to basics in their business and make sure you've done everything you need to have that strong foundation. So tonight is all about
Goals.
we made a sentence. So would you like, I'll hand it over to you.
Cool.
And we'll go through it.
Okay. So obviously we've already gone through some of the basics of what you do in the business, but really, we need to click on there. Without goals and knowing where you want to go, you then are going to come up with some levels of stumbling blocks. So you need to create levels of goals, and you need to make sure your people are creating goals, and we need to know, or you need to know, so we need to know what our people want, and you need to know what your people want, because otherwise when they hit the hurdle, you don't know why they're doing what they're doing, because everybody has a different reason for why they are trying to achieve whatever that is, whether it's financial, whether it's family, whatever, whether it's to get out of their current style of work, whatever it may be. We need to know what that is so we can help a person achieve whatever that goal is. So it is important. So the main question there is, what do you want? It's a real question that you ask. And then, people don't answer that and will struggle to answer that. If I asked you the correct question, what do you want? Most people can't actually tell you, not in real detail. So you've got to work out, what do you want? What are you working towards? What are you trying to achieve? And then work it out for, you need goals, and I haven't got slides on this, but you need goals for today, this week, this year, and in 10 years' time. What are you ultimately working towards in the longer version of things? Because sometimes we all want something now, when really it could take 10 years to achieve whatever we're trying to achieve. We forget that at times. So you've got to work that out yourself. And it's everything that is totally individual. And you need to know what you want. So when you hit that solid brick wall, you hit that wall of total despair, you go, okay, I really want this. And then that helps you get through that. It helps you blast through those walls.
And when you think about it too, when someone gets started on the products, what do? We work that, we know what their goals are. We've already worked out if they've got a dress size goal, or they're trying to aim for something. Like I know with Fran, she wants to lose weight to go to Mauritius. So we know these are goals, or there's a kilo goal. So it's the same in the business. We need to know how many hours do they want to work a week or a day, what sort of income do they want to earn per week or per month, part-time, and what would they like to build up to, and have those kind of basic goals to start with, and then that lifestyle goals.
Because if you think about it from a kilo goal point of view, and that's off track what I was going to talk about, I'll use a female looking to get married. I want to fit into my wedding dress. There's the goal. What happens with the day she gets married? I can go now eat whatever I feel like because I don't have to fit in my wedding dress anymore. That's a very short-term goal. It needs to be something way beyond that to keep that person tracking along. They want to be doing it for their life, not just for a specific day or a specific event. So again, who do you want to be? That's another question. And I'm going to break this down a little bit further in a minute, but that's the next question you want to know is, what do I want? And then who do I want to become? Because we now live in a world where we have the information at actually our fingertips, whatever that may be. We may not be able to achieve it overnight. It may take us years of study, but what we're doing this call on tonight is at my fingertips. I can look up Google and learn anything I want at my pace off the internet, basically. I don't have to go down to a library and sit in a library or take out a book. It's at my fingertips, and it's at my fingertips 24 hours a day. I can look something up, that's not what I wanted, look up something else. So who do I want to be? Is it a better speaker? Is it, whatever it may be? There's books on every subject. Sometimes they're not always easy, and we don't always know what we want to be, but there's subjects out there all the time.
I think too, when it comes to our healthy, active lifestyle in our community, it's about being a good role model for our families, which helps to improve our relationships. And I can see that happening in the group, which is really great. So if you know you can become your best version, whatever that is for you, because everyone has a different idea of what that is. But I know for a lot of parents, it's being that role model and being a role model in our community and affecting people's lives that way. I think that's pretty powerful.
So these are generally the 4 parts of a goal breakdown that we would normally talk about. So what do you want to be? What do you want to become? What do you want to do? So whatever do could be, I want to go on a Pacific trip. I want to go and visit something. What do I want to do in life? Well, however you want to break that down into point of what do I want to have? So do I want to have the lush house on the beach, or what do I actually want? Or I just want a new car, or I just want whatever it is. And then what do I want to give back? What do I want to give back to the community? What do I want to give to my family, whatever that may be? And the best way to break this down then is to you do roughly a 20 goals list to start with, and you write 5 in each column. Now you may not be able to do that. You might write 6 in one and 4 in others, but you're trying to break that there down into 5 little steps in each one of those componentries. That's the basis of goal setting. Then what you should do is take that goal, whatever they may be, and then write a detailed version of what that is at a point. And the reason you do that, if you cannot write a detailed version of whatever that is, what you want to become or what you want to do, what happens is it's really a fantasy and you actually don't really want to do it at all, or you don't want to become it at all. It's just a process to get you really deep down into that mindset of, do I actually want it? So do I really want that new black Toyota Hilux, or is it just something that I see someone else driving, and do I really want it with the big flashed out mag wheels and whatever it may be? Is that what I want to have, or is it just something that I see someone else driving? So you need to think about that in that respect, in those 4 componentries and points from goal setting. And then you got to play this game. What if? What if I did? You've got to get your head open enough to almost use the other word, fantasize. What if I could achieve that? What if it was possible? And you really have to then work backwards in some respects, because you may have to go, what if I could get that? So what's involved to achieve that over what period of time? And I do listen to a lot of Gary Vee at times lately, and the biggest problem we all struggle with is patience, because we all want it today, and sometimes it does take time. So what if game, but patience, right? And don't regret anything in that process. If you didn't go for something, don't worry about it.
I think something I've heard with the what if is, what if time and money weren't an issue? Where would you live? What would you do? Who would you be? What would you give if time and money were not an issue? So that's another way of giving you that there's no limits, and really letting yourself dream and expand and play with that idea. Whereas the list before is a little bit more specific, and you could pick 5 things on each list to start with, and then have some short-term goals. I know with the goal setting one you do, where you get people to number it, 6 months, a year, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, etc. So you can have
because you've got to actually have multiple goals running at once. Because if I have a good way that they explained it was this: when they first went to the moon, the people that went to the moon, when they came back, got very depressed and had nothing to look forward to, because they made this dream of going to the moon, flying a spaceship, their only goal they ever achieved. Once they've done that, what do you do now? I've done the ultimate. So you have to have multiple goals going at the same time. It might have been, when I come back from going to the moon, I want to go and restore motor vehicles, or I want to do whatever. They've taught them now that something that's an extreme goal like that, they have to have other goals to do after that and do that beforehand. So you have to have goals running at all different times, because sometimes your 10-year goal may have to be broken down into smaller steps. You take Herbalife, for example. If you want to become a president's team, you've got to then break that down into, okay, I want to become an active world team, I want to become a GET team, and when do I want to achieve those componentries? And if you do it from this company business point of view, if you say I want to become a GET team by a certain point, it gives you something to strive for. If you just say I want to become a GET team, well, that's okay, but it could be 20 years from now before you hit that first target level. Where if you force yourself to say I want to achieve it in a realistic figure in your whatever that is for each person, I want to achieve it in 12 months time, or I want to achieve it in 2 years time, and suddenly we get to, there's no point getting to, if it's 2 years time, 18 months down the track, go, I better do something about it. You've got to be doing something about it now. What do I need to break down on a weekly, monthly basis now that's just slowly going to step me in that direction?
And I think when it comes to Herbalife goals, I love it when someone maybe doesn't know how to set goals and it doesn't come natural to them. Herbalife has things in place for people to aim for, from the MAP program to supervisor to the different levels in the company and different promotions and things. So they're designed to place goals in front of people to get them used to doing that stretching and growing and achieving and ticking things off, so that then they can also work on their own personal goals. And one of the things I love is Googling the different pins and having it either on my phone or my desktop or printing it out. I know people that have put, for example, they want to get to world team by a certain date, which is obviously some people are cool aiming for that. Printing out the world team pin, putting the date. They'd have it in the toilet, on the mirror in the bathroom, like everywhere, even in the shower. They'd laminate it and they'd have it everywhere so that it was constantly looking them in the face, where it was just reminding them of that goal. And something we've done with the girls, because we have obviously Hamilton Island coming up. A lot of people seen the poster thing that I've printed out all pictures. I've done the thermometer, and it's great because the girls will walk past and they've asked questions about it. Mackenzie understands about points now. Like, I got a client come in and bought a program. Mackenzie said, "How many points is that?" And it was great. And I showed her on the prices so she could add it up, and getting them enrolled. Get your family and the people around you enrolled in it as well, that they're part of the whole thing. And it's a great motivating factor, I think, for parents to do that.
So if you think about what we're doing right now, Cara, you in the 21-day challenge, you actually created daily goals for everybody. It's exactly that in a bigger picture. You create small increment steps each day for someone to achieve. So if you just said at the beginning, I want everybody to do 100 whatever squats, at the end they would have just gone, no, not a hope. But they've got small increments they can work themselves towards every single day, that they can get to that. Now, if their body doesn't allow that, that's okay, but at least they've got something to work towards. And that's all goal setting technically, is just breaking that down in a different format.
Cool.
Right? So what else we got in here?
Okay.
So again, dream big, set your goals, and you got to take action. Because a goal without a plan is just a wish. That's that fantasy, that's that wish. If you don't have some level of plan, you're never going to achieve anything. And you may not always get it when you want to get it. You may not always achieve it. You can always go reset it. And sometimes you'll do a goal today, and in a year's time, that goal could have changed. Life's changed. Whatever you're doing's changed. Your attitude of what things have changed. If you think of yourself as a person, the goals you had when you were in your late teens, 19 to 20, are totally different now. But by the time you end up your late 20s, into 20s, into 30s, into 40s, they change. Your perspective on life changes, which changes your goals at times. So you have to regularly redo your goals, reassess it, and go, because it may not, one of those 5 in each category may not now be a priority any longer than what it was a year or 2 or 3 years ago. So you have to regularly relook at it, revisit it, redefine it if need be.
So if you're going to recommend maybe some books for people to read that are on goal setting, that would be...
Well, the Jim Rohn one on the 7 strategies, which is that the one that I believe Michael was reading at the moment? That is really, really good principle of how to set a goals. It's pretty well, I know the goal setting workshop I did was almost out of that book. Yeah. It was really basic. It was really simple. It broke it down to the simplest format and then go from there. Yeah.
Kim Bromer's book's good too.
Yeah, Kim Bromer.
Yep. I actually have never read Kim, but yes. Yeah,
Yep.
same
It's
principle.
very good. Yeah.
And I think Jack Canfield.
Jack Canfield book is another one. The Success Principles is another one. It's not directly on goal setting. It breaks.
Tony Robbins, have you got one?
What's
Tony
Jack
Robbins to me-
Canfield's one called? Sorry,
Which one?
Jack Canfield's. What's that one called?
The Success Principles.
So,
Tony Robbins is fine. Yes, he does. But it's a little bit like Think and Grow Rich. You need to sometimes read some of the other books first before you build yourself up in it, because Tony Robbins can be fairly intense.
Yeah.
Can be. And if you know what I mean, sometimes reading that sort of stuff.
I like Jim Rohn. He keeps it simple.
It's very simple. Written a long time ago, but it's still very simple. And if you think about it, Jim Rohn is the one that actually taught Tony Robbins. If you people don't understand that, Tony Robbins went to a Jim Rohn workshop, and that's where he started his career.
And he worked for Jim Rohn, because I was just reading this in the book. For 3 years he worked for.
So therefore, when you think about a Herbalife is based around Jim Rohn, which is what Tony Robbins is today. So the foundations of everything you talk about are based in that anyway. And I clicked off.
That's okay.
That's okay.
You can stop sharing it if you like. Cool.
So-
So that's it. So that was a bit on goal setting.
Yeah,
and
it's really basic.
I would work on it. Like I've got mine written up and I keep them in my diary. But of course, I'm looking here and a few. I wrote this a year and a half ago, so I know I've got from
Do you wanna start
2018. No, because it's part of the goals to 2068.
2068.
Wow.
Years from now.
And
Will you be 100? No, you'll be just short. Okay.
so but you can, things change on what you think is important or how you worded it. I can see maybe some things I set goals and levels too quick, like I need more time to achieve certain things. So it's just sometimes you've got to go back and redo
Absolutely.
them and work out what's important to you, and keep writing them, keep them on you so that you can always read them. And the key is to read them every morning, every night. And I know we don't do this,
We don't always.
but I do a gratitude thing
Yeah,
every
you do.
morning. And but I think, just reading it and being aware, but you're going to have separate goals.
Yep. So that's
Yeah.
the thing here. Now, Lindy, different. You're currently single. Michael, Cara, as a couple, you need to do your own goals, but then see how they align, because sometimes they don't always. They'll be different in different things. I know they are with us. You know what I mean? And
But
you
isn't
have
that
to pick that
okay,
out.
or is it?
Hey?
Or does it mean you don't stay in the same path if you have different ones in as a couple?
Not necessarily that, but if you're not,
I think our values are similar.
the values are similar. But if you're not careful, if you don't actually know what each other's goals in a couple are, you're going in your direction and they're going in their direction. There's somewhere down the track you go, hang on a minute, we're going in two different directions here. What? It's about finding out, and a lot of the time they will align, but you need to know that you may have different time frames, you may have different expectations, those sort of things. So it is good to do it together, and it's good to do it separately, and then bring it together and go, oh, because sometimes it creates a conversation. I didn't realize you wanted that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you wanted to go on a European tour, because if Shelley turned around to me tomorrow and said, I want to go on a world cruise, I'd fall over, because I know directly she doesn't want to go on a floating hotel. That's her attitude.
Yeah, I know.
It's not a floating hotel is not who she is. But there's some people that you might be in a relationship with that want to go on a floating hotel, but you don't. So you need to figure that out. How do you get around that?
So I've ticked off 3 goals that I wrote back then, a year and a half ago. Tick is Ross will be living with me by the 31st of March 2018. Ross and I will build our Herbalife business together. Tick. And Ross will join my distributorship in March 2019 officially. Tick.
So the first one where Shelley wrote, I'd be living with her, she wrote that down without me knowing. Before
it happened.
Before it happened, right? Well before it happened. So what she did is, theoretically, she created a goal, and then in her own headspace, she worked towards it. Because if you think about goals, and this can be a little bit hairy-fairy, but we all work on what they call at the moment that harmonics of life. So the more intentions you put out of things, the more they come back to you in some way, shape, or form. They don't always come back as you expect them, but we all, the more you watch and listen to that style of thing, we vibrate in the levels of harmonics. So the more you put it out, the more you write it down, the more you look at that intention, the more you create. So in other words, the principle is this: the more you look at life in a negative field, everything always happens to me, it tends to be that way. You attract that negativity, you watch it, you in Herbalife, you watch it around people currently around you. The ones that are struggling talk that way. They listen to the doom and gloom. Everything's always a drama, right? And we all have it. But the ones that don't, and you don't have to be extreme at the other end of the scale either, but if you're not focusing on that drama, it doesn't happen. It's amazing how powerful our minds are when we start to focus on something.
Yeah.
And they actually do say it's not the conscious focusing that's the problem. It's the subconscious focusing, when we're thinking about it and we don't even realize.
One of the sort of, I call it the hairy fairy book, a bit like you, but that's the Power of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. Now, when I first read that, I thought, oh, you're kidding me.
Yep.
But the more you get into it, and the more mantras and the more positive things you say to yourself, it's amazing. Yeah.
Well, it really comes down to, it's like this: what you seek, you find.
Yeah.
That's the simplest way to look at it. So that if you seek positivity and achieving stuff, you have a greater chance of achieving that. If you seek nothing and seeking nothing's ever going to happen, I'm never going to have it, that's what you'll find.
I think there's that quote: if you realize how powerful your thoughts were. You would never think a negative thought again. So how powerful our minds really are. So that's basically on goal setting.
Yep.
And so we'll step through every fortnight and just do some more basics. I think we're going to do a bit more of a social media thing. Yep. So we'll stop recording. Thank you.
So you're not someone's not.
Okay. So we're finished recording now.